Hello, Fondren family. I hope everyone is doing well and staying healthy. It is about 4.5 months, I guess, since we were last together at church. Seems like forever ago. This is the next in our series of videos about being church in this new time. We have learned over the last few months that this is not ending soon, and we've also learned that when it does end, things are not going to go back to the way they were. That's just a given, I think. The world around us is changing, and the church is changing with it. And one of the ways that the church is changing is the way that we as Christians, as individuals, work to grow spiritually. When I was growing up, you went to Sunday school on Sunday morning, and you went to church on Wednesday night, and youth group on Sunday night, and there might be a Bible study in there for adults sometime during the week, but it was a pretty regular schedule because most of our lives were on a pretty regular schedule. Most people's jobs were morning to evening, 5 days a week. Most of us were home on the weekends. Soccer practice was on Saturday. Nothing really happened on Sunday. Life had kind of a regimented schedule to it. Well, even before this coronavirus took hold of all of us, that wasn't true anymore. Life did not have a set schedule. Work schedules are all over the map. Many of us work 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. Life at home with children is busier than it's ever been before. I remember growing up, we would have things in sequence. It would be soccer season, then t-ball season, then whatever else came next. But now everything's on top of everything else. There are not enough days in the week or hours in the day or minutes in the hour to get everything done that we need to do. So the old way of providing opportunities to grow spiritually at church has to change as well. Because Sunday morning Sunday school and Sunday night youth programming and Wednesday night Bible studies just don't work for everybody anymore. Our calendars are just too different. So how do we address that? Well, that question was one that was being asked by the church for about 20 years when we ran into this pandemic. And then all of a sudden, the solutions we were coming up with weren't working anymore because of this pandemic. So it's left us to talk about it a little bit more and to explore new ways to provide opportunities to grow in faith and to grow spiritually. So how do we do it? How do we do that during a pandemic as a church? Well, I think the way we do it is we have to go into a little power sharing. The responsibility for growing spiritually is the church's. It's our responsibility, part of our baptismal covenant, to provide space and opportunities for men and women and children to grow in faith, to deepen their faith, and to grow spiritually. But there's also some responsibility on us as individual Christians, as individuals who seek to grow deeper in our faith. Part of the reality of having schedules the way that we do is we have to take time and energy to carve out time for the things that we need to do in our lives. I don't know if you're like me. I'm guessing some of you are. Some weeks I look at my calendar and there's no room for the things I wish I had room for. The urgent often crowds out the important on our calendars, but we still have to take care of those important things. Carve out time for us to do some growing and nurturing of ourselves spiritually. I was challenged with that this summer when a spirituality retreat I was supposed to go on as part of my program at Columbia Seminary went online. Now imagine doing a spirituality retreat from home online. You can imagine how much rushed in to fill the space that would have been taken up by being out of town. Being at home made it very difficult to commit to the time and energy it took to make that retreat worthwhile. But it was worth it in the end. It was worth the effort to carve out that space for myself, to grow and nurture my spiritual life, to find space to take some deep breaths, to catch my breath spiritually. It gave me some room in my life to do those things. Well, all of us have to do that from time to time. And now with this pandemic, on top of the reality of our contemporary lives, we each have to take the time and energy to carve out space for spiritual growth. So what is the church going to do to help us do that? Well, your spiritual engagement ministry has been hard at work putting together a fall schedule that is rich and full and very flexible. Because of Zoom, we'll be doing all of our programming online. And because it's online, most of it we're able to record. So one of the things we're going to be doing is archiving a lot of our Bible studies, our Wednesday night programs, and things like that, so that you can access them on our website if you'd like to later on. We're also going to be starting a Bible study called Disciple. Disciple is a Bible study that is focused on reading almost the entire text of the scriptures over the course of 24 weeks. 12 weeks in the Old Testament, 12 weeks in the New Testament. That will begin in September with the first Disciple group. Then we'll have a second one beginning hopefully later in the fall. We also have our Wednesday night programming. We have Odyssey class on Sunday mornings. And we're working on more opportunities to gather and do the work, the hard work of growing spiritually. What we have to do as individuals, though, is make room for that. Make room in our lives, whether it's for the planned events like Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings, or the time we're able to set aside to do some private study and some private reflection. Each of us has to make that effort if we're going to grow and live spiritually. One of the great things about Fondren is that we have so many talented people giving their time and energy to these ministries. And the spiritual engagement ministry is no exception. There are a lot of great programs coming up that I hope you will take advantage of. And I hope you'll do that for one reason other than just that personal development, which is very important. I shouldn't have said just. It's not a just thing. It's an important thing, but it's not the only thing. The other reason I really encourage you to carve out time for some spiritual engagement through church this fall is that it is a chance to gather with one another and grow together. One of the things this pandemic has done is it has increased our social isolation. People are social beings. Even those of us who are introverts are social beings, whether we like it or not. And we need that time together. And we need that time with people we trust and who care for us and for whom we care very deeply. And that's our church family. It's important to have time for our families. It's important to have time for our friends. It's also important to have time for our church family, to be a part of a community that grows together in faith in Christ. So I hope you will make the effort to make that time, to carve that time out, to give yourself the gift of growing in the Spirit. Be on the lookout in the next couple of weeks. Today is the 11th of August. In the next couple of weeks, you're going to see some mailings from the church with information about upcoming programs. You'll see e-news alerts about things that are going on. So I hope you will begin to take advantage of those. Give yourself the gift of growing in spirit. And above all, give us the gift of growing with you. Friends, I wish you every possible blessing. I wish you all good health and good spirits. I wish you all every possible blessing in this season and beyond when we will meet again. But once again, we will be our church family in this place together. Blessings to you all. Remember that your church family and your pastor love you very, very much.